Hello, Dark Howlers. Oh, it's a new week. I can farm Hecate again. Hello, Asia. Is it this? No, it's this one. How are you? Ready for the holidays? I'm gonna be honest, I don't really celebrate the holidays. My family will probably celebrate it though. If I were celebrating the holidays, I probably wouldn't be streaming right now too. Crit damage. Nope. Hello. Crit damage? Nope. We're never getting that crit damage, man. Healing bonus? That's crazy for Kiyuan, right? Healing bonus again? You guys think Kiyuan can be a good healer? Maybe I can run him on the lingering tune strat for Weewa. So much happening soon. All these gachas have me in a chokehold. Yeah, not gonna lie. Like, I've been promising I'd play ZZZ and shit. And I will, like, get Yeshun Guang no matter what. But, like, man, I am so caught up with, like, Wuwa, HSR, and Bleach Soul Resonance. And, like, those three games alone already have me on my toes. Playing any more gachas, it just doesn't feel good. The reason why playing 3 gachas now feels so easy is because I'm literally forced to play Bleach Soul Resonance on mobile, which is like a lot more comfortable for me. If it weren't for that, if Bleach Soul Resonance also had a PC port, I'd probably struggle more in terms of playing it consistently. Hope you've been well. Thank you, Human. Hope you've been well as well. Merry Christmas soon. In my time, it's Christmas Eve in like an hour. I just made an early Christmas community post because I know I'm probably going to be off by then. Dude, can I get a single crit damage? Oh my goodness. This is insanity. Please, man. Oh, yo. Gert. Are you still trying to build Prolova? Yeah. Technically, she's already built. Like, I got good enough, like, worse echoes for her. This is just farming the guaranteed, like, 15 free Calamity bosses you get every single week through the data bank. because she has a 4 cost that needs more upgrading as compared to my QU1. And like the next character I'm building is Mornai, and Mornai isn't going to get her Echo set until next patch. So there's I can't even farm it right now. Are you playing for Prolova on your QU1 account? I already got Prolova. There was a video on it. I used the 10 pull I got from the Game Awards, and I got her at like 20 something, 30 something pity. I couldn't get Canarella though, which sucks. Okay, I swear to God, I don't think I've gotten a single crit stat. That's like the 7th or 8th Hecate without a crit stat. Wow. Oh my goodness. Bro, these main stat selectors don't fall from trees, man. Come on. What? I used all 15 of my weekly guaranteed calamity bosses, and I didn't get a single crit Hecate. There's no way. Yo, son, folk, what the fuck is this? Oh my god. Do you have main selectors? No, I don't think so. Yeah, I'm broke. Wow. Why did you go for S6 QU1 instead of S6 Cartethia? Isn't she the strongest S6? Yes, but it's kind of the same reason I went for E6 Anoxa, even though he's nowhere near the strongest E6. I just like the character. Like, I know I base my entire channel off of, like, meta and what's best pull value wise, but, like, I myself will not follow my own advice if I just really like a character. It happens pretty often, so I just decided to use it on QU1. Now, do I regret it? Like pull value wise, yeah. But he's fun as fuck. Like gameplay wise, I don't regret it at all. But yeah, his performance is pretty underwhelming for an S6. Because like Lene is just so much better than this guy. It's not even close. Even her sequence investment is better than this guy. It's kind of sad to see that he's like second half of 2.7. Lene is only 2 banners after QU1, and she has like infinitely more value than he does. It's kind of sad. Good to know, yeah. I love not playing gotcha games. Yeah, that sounds like the life, to be honest. Just not having to deal with this bullshit RNG. Woo shafting man, the sky must be blue. I mean, the thing is, like, Brant, in my opinion, has higher value than QU1 now. I always said QU1, like, after some changes in the beta, I thought he was in a solid spot, but not exceptional. But because of how much stronger Lene is now than, like, most sub DPSs in the game, he doesn't even have main DPS going for him. Like, when it comes to Brant, Brant has like way better main DPS than Q want and way better team options, right? So you can be like, yeah, you know, even if Brant falls off as like a third slot in Mono Fusion or something, Brant still has hyper carry going for him, and he has really, really good sequence investment if you run him hyper carry. But this doesn't really apply to QU1. Like, you can run him hyper carry, especially at higher investment, but it is significantly weaker than even Brant, who's already a sub DPS to begin with. So, like, if you guys want an example of how bad, like, at base, Brant hyper carry, especially with Mornai releasing soon, probably is already like 40 to 50% stronger than QU1 hyper carry. But then alongside that, Brant at S3 gets the same like performance jump from sequences as QU1 does going from S0 to S6. So it's like it's pretty crazy, man. It's pretty crazy. Actually, I want to see his buffing capability. I'm gonna be honest. I pulled this QU1 and I never looked at his actual buffing capability. I know he has Echo Cast in his kit. 50% Echo Skill damage amp. And then because I have him S2, I think there's 30% more because he's S2. Yeah, there's a 30% more. So 80% Echo Skill damage amp and Echo Skill damage bonus 20% from the weapon. That's kind of like S. If you want to compare it to an S2R1 Lene, S2R1 Lene gives hmm she gives 24% amp from S2. Her weapon gives 24% general damage bonus. Her liberation gives 24% damage bonus. Her outro gives 15% general amp and 25% lib amp. Tune break boost, tune strain and tune rupture, which just adds more damage. I feel like I'm missing something too. I don't know what it is, but I feel like I'm missing something. If Galbrena and Prolova fall, KU1 has no use pretty much. Well, this is the thing. Like, and this is why I was saying this stuff about Lene. Prolova, from what I've seen, can achieve similar performance in her teams even without QU1. Like, Prolova is one of the most universal characters in the game in terms of like slotting into duo DPS or something. So she can work completely fine with QU1. And then Galbrena's best in slot team is definitively with QU1. But Galbrena can also use Mono Fusion very well. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, QU1 at max is probably like a 10% DPS increase in a lot of these teams max as compared to like second best option. He is an insane luxury pull. He really isn't necessary at all, which is kind of sad. I think the best way I could put it is Like if you have a Prolova premium team without Q Yuan, like the old Canarella Roshia thing, it's genuinely probably better for you to just go in for like Prolova sequence investment than it is to actually pull this guy, which is just the sad truth. So he's like Jiao. I think he's more similar to Saridra, to be honest. Because Echo's skill damage amp, like that's just so niche. Like it's even nicher than like res lib or res skill or a certain attribute. Echo skill damage amp just really isn't something common. I'd say he's more similar to Saridra. Is 3.0 tomorrow around this time? I'm actually not sure. I don't know if it's tomorrow or on Christmas. I'd assume it's maybe tomorrow. I haven't been paying attention to the release date myself. I just saw there was a pre-download. Who's higher priority for Prolova, Q1 or Canarella? Canarella. It's in a day? Oh, alright. Are they gonna do Luke dirty like Q1? Uh, I think Luke is gonna be a DPS. He has to be like a DPS or a sub DPS. So we'll see. I think he's going to be a main DPS though. Because technically, the last like limited male main DPS was like Jian and Zhang Liao from version 1. Like there's no way they keep prolonging a new male main DPS. It doesn't make sense. Even for Galbrena, yeah, Galbrena's kind of the same situation. Like he's at max basically like a 10% DPS increase. Luke is said to be a main DPS that works with Lene and Mornai, while Pink Nanami would use Chisa and Fusion Rover. Uh, wait. So then she'd be the Fusion Burst DPS in 3.1? I don't know if they do that. Maybe they would though. I don't know. The Ameth girl. She would have to be the Fusion Burst DPS probably. That's the current speculation. Oh, it's just speculation? Yeah, never mind. That's fine. Fractured Shore speculation this early is usually not accurate. Fractured Shores was calling Kiyuan the most broken unit in the entirety of the game before we actually got his kit. I think the pink-haired girl would be Wua's Cyrene than the 3.1 DPS. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I think the same. Like, she is very clearly, in my opinion, the main focus of Lahai Roy. So I think it's much more likely that she's the anniversary unit or like after the Annie, similar to like a cart situation, than like one patch after 3.0. I could be like completely wrong though. This is just hypotheticals, but if they wanted to prioritize it, that's my opinion. Starting to regret getting Chisa at this point. Her being a dot SK was such a bait. I mean, technically for dot, she is kind of an SK. It's just that the SK generally, like 3.x SK, which is what a lot of CCs were saying, got instantly fucking shut down. Like, I don't know why people thought an entire version would be fully dedicated to negative status for one character. Like, how does that cross people's minds, man? Like, that's not happening. There will be negative status DPSs, and she's gonna be best in slot for them. But like, come on, man. It's not gonna be the majority. I think there is one simple reason why Chisa will likely be noticeably best in slot for a lot of these negative status teams that you guys probably wouldn't expect, but like it's kind of obvious when you think about it, is that these upcoming negative status DPSs, the new ones, probably aren't going to be able to actually use Rover, right? Like the biggest thing with when it came to like Cartethia and Zanny teams was that they had Spectro Rover and they had Arrow Rover. And especially in Cartethia teams, Arrow Rover is kind of that third slot, not the second slot. And so Chisa's jump over Arrow Rover just was non existent, basically. Right. However, if you don't have Rover fighting for the third slot anymore, and it's not like Chisa definitive, then they can make Chisa way better than other options, most likely. I think. Right. I think. Nothing is guaranteed. I feel like they'll hype up Pink Nanami, release her, and then have the Cyberpunk collab right after. Yeah. That kind of makes sense. Does Wuwa's Annie fall on 3.3? I low-key haven't been counting, really. Because Zanny's 2.3, so we have 2.4, which is like a month and a half. Each patch is a month and a half. So 2.4, 2.5, 2.6, 2.7, 2.8, 3.0, 3.1, 3.2, 3.3. That's 8 patches. 3.4. Isn't 3.4 supposed to be Annie? Because I think 9 patches equals a year. In a team with Prolova and Canarella, is Booling good for a third slot if Arena is busy? Yeah. 3.3 is the Annie. It would be perfect place to sell her before Cyberpunk. Yeah, to be honest, I could 100% see that. Yeah. This time they'd actually put the main push on the Annie because Cyberpunk is 3.4. And then, like, no matter what, you're milking your player base. It just works. Yeah. That low-key makes the most sense. Because if someone goes all in on 3.3, then if they like Cyberpunk 2, they're going to want to go in for 3.4 as well. I mean, there's also the possibility they make one of the Cyberpunk collab characters free, right? That's not a cope, right? They gave I think they gave Dante for free in the Devil May Cry collab in PGR. Just trust the process. That is the most cope Wua can ever have a free character. I mean, they could start doing it in the second year. I could easily see that. I mean, HSR didn't give any like new limited 5 stars in its first year either. It was mainly the second year where they really started like golden token on the anniversary, Archer, Don Hung PT, another golden token. Like that's when they kind of picked up. Kuro treats PGR way better than Wuwa. Well, yeah, but like once again, I'm kind of just hoping that the game is super early in its cycle, and so they wanted to wait like a year, so that when the game is like 2 or 3 years old, that's when they start giving gifts and rewards and stuff. It's a cope, but it's kind of a realistic one because a lot of these gacha games do the same thing. They just keep upping the rewards or like the limited rewards for supporting the game more and more. And I hope that free character is Rebecca because I'm gonna be honest, I don't care about Lucy. Imagine if Lua gave no free characters on the collab. I mean, I'm gonna be completely honest. The collab comes after the Annie. If there is no free limited character at all on both the Annie and the collab, like that's gonna be a huge wake up call to a lot of people. Like one of the biggest copes that this games community has had for getting a free 5 star is the Cyberpunk collab because they see like all these other gotcha games, they'll often get like one character copy free at the minimum. If Wuwa doesn't at least do that, bro, I already know there's gonna be a bunch of like discourse about it. Which honestly I understand. Rebecca is kind of popular to be free now. I mean, I feel like if they had to choose either or to be free, it would probably be Rebecca because a lot of these gotcha games think it more unlikely that they sell lolly characters as compared to just normal woman. So that's why. Unless Rebecca is just that much more popular than Lucy. I don't know. Maybe guaranteed banners during the collab, like the ones in ZZZ. Guaranteed banners on the collab. I mean, to a lot of people, that's still worse than a free character. But I'd take that high key. I'd actually take that. Because personally, I plan to go for copies on Rebecca. So, like me personally, for my agenda, that would actually be a better case scenario, probably. But that is also, like, I'd say that's more unlikely. They'd probably make way more money by only giving one copy of a character free than making the banners guaranteed. Like they'd lose so much fucking money, man. Cause there's people out here like people did this for the fake collab in HSR. They literally saved and dropped like thousands to get E6 of their favorite characters. They are going to do the exact same thing for the Cyberpunk collab in WoW. That would make them lose so much more money in my opinion. Do you think the collab will be perma like HSR or one patch like most collabs? Um, I mean, it's obviously probably in Kuro's interest to just keep the banners up as long as possible, but like I think that's more of a thing that they need to discuss with the people who own the rights to Cyberpunk in all likelihood. Like that's probably something you need to discuss directly. Like every single gotcha game would probably rather have a collab banner up for as long as possible. But I'm sure there's like issues, whether it be like payment or, them not wanting it to be up there for that long for a lot of these games. That would be cool though. Lucy is technically permanent in Guilty Gear Strive. Well, yeah, if that's the case, then yeah, I could see it maybe in Wuwa. I actually wonder how much more popular Rebecca is as compared to Lucy. Actually, eh. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, the AI that like automatically pops up when I search stuff is saying that they're neck and neck in fan polls. So I think Lucy would sell better than Rebecca probably. I wish we got David. Yeah, I don't know. Like a lot of these games really hate putting in the MCs. Like it's not even just a Woowa thing. Like there's no Emiya in the fake collab for HSR unless you obviously include Archer in that. And there's a lot of other collabs that don't include MCs as well. At this point, I'm starting to think like if any game ever gets a JJK collab, like they're not getting Yuji, they're getting fucking Sakuna and Gojo. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. Didn't PGR include Dante? Yeah, they did. They did. Maybe it's just for like series where people really like the side characters, and sometimes the side characters take the spotlight as compared to the MC. Like they probably just go with what is probably the most popular. I don't know if that David is like that much popular than Lucy and Rebecca. So, but here's the thing: even if he is more popular, like generally, these gacha companies know that. Let's say Lucy and Rebecca are half the popularity of David, they'll probably still make more money off Lucy and Rebecca, right? Because they're women. And the majority of the audience of these games is men who like gooning, guilty as charged. So people care more about getting Dante than yeah, that's exactly my point. Like in series where the MC is just drastically popular as compared to the rest of his peers in like a series, like it makes sense to include the MC. But if that isn't the case, then it becomes like a lot more unclear. Like I was saying earlier, JJK, like 99% of games that would collab with JJK if they were gotchas and made banners would not use Yuji. They'd probably use Gojo, they'd use Sakuna, they'd use Toji, like Megumi maybe. They just wouldn't use Toji, you know what I'm saying? Or sorry, they wouldn't use Yuji. Imagine a Dragon Ball collab without Goku. Yeah, that's another one where it's like basically a guaranteed of them being there. I think One Piece is also on that boat too. Bleach, I could maybe see, but not really. But Bleach has some amazing like side characters that people really like and will often like. I'd argue Aizen is more popular than probably Ichigo. I could be completely wrong on that, but I've seen way more Aizen when I wasn't into Bleach as compared to Ichigo. Oh yeah, they're giving like a few Persona and Sonic songs in 3.x that you can play while on the motorcycle, I think. It's like a short collab. Do we know what song specifically? I can't say because I haven't played a Sonic game since I was maybe like 6 years old, and I've never played Persona. So, absolutely cannot speak on this. If they use Yuji, he'd be a free unit. Yeah, I think the same, to be honest. Like, there are some characters where you can instantly imagine that they wouldn't be a, like, high value premium, character. Think Linnea is a must pull or bait? I don't think she's a must pull. I'm already getting recommended videos of like Linnea is a must pull. I don't think she's a must pull. If anything, I think she's just like a sign of what we might see in version 3, which is they're gonna like semi power creep the older cast by making everyone have like a general buff available somewhere, even if it isn't like insanely high. But I don't think she's a must pull, no. I'd never say, other than Mornai, because of like generalist third support, that's the closest you can get to a must pull. But even then, I wouldn't say she's a must pull. Um, at the very beginning of a version, no one's a must pull, in my opinion. No one. Like, no. Especially not at the beginning of a version. Like, I remember when people were calling Gian a must pull for Wiwa at the beginning of version 2. Camellia was like the Wiwa god as well. You had Carlotta, like, oh, she's super easy, highest DPS in the game. And now Cart, no offense, just makes a Carlotta feel significantly weaker. Premium team versus premium team. So I'd say the best characters to invest into, if you want to talk about like DPS must pulls, um, Sentinel Resonators, and actually, yeah, just Sentinel Resonators, I think. Those are like always going to be guaranteed to be incredibly powerful, is the Sentinel Resonators. And then for supports, it's just characters like Mornai. For sub DPSs, really, like Lene does kind of power creep every previous sub DPS, but like, is that going to be specific to her? Is the question. I don't think so. I think there's going to be more sub DPSs on Lene's level, if not stronger, the further we go in V3. The only must pull in Wua is Shorekeeper, period. The reason I like Shorekeeper, like Mornai has slightly weaker buffs than Shorekeeper, right? But even outside of that, is the fact that she gives crit stats and Mornai doesn't. Like, a lot of people are talking about how, like, Mornai could possibly be slightly stronger than SK in some teams because of the tune break buildup. But then you consider, like, if you've run SK on a team, you've likely rolled echo stats that perfectly match to, like, fit SK's crit buff. So if you take off SK and you put Mornai, you're now going to be missing significantly more crits, and you need to refarm your echoes. I don't want to fucking do that shit. Like, I no offense, I just don't want to do that. I have an RTX 3060 Ti and a Ryzen 5 5600X. I bought this PC like 2 years ago. A little more than 2 years ago at this point, I think. For Wuwa CCs, every banner is a must pull. Yeah, yeah. It's hard to take, or other people can just enjoy the content, right? The editing, the information. However, characters do get incredibly overglazed in this game and their value because nobody, I swear, in the CC space for Wuwa has any foresight. Like in HSR, it's also kind of bad in HSR, right? Like, I think I'm one of the few creators in the HSR space that uses high level of foresight to try and predict like future value of characters. But there's still like people aside from me who can still like do the same thing. When it comes to the Wua CC space, there isn't a single motherfucker with foresight, or at least they don't try to act like they have any foresight. Like they just see what's right in front of them. They don't consider the upcoming Annie unit, um, new teams perfectly together. They don't consider the fact that it's only the beginning of a new version. Like, nope, must pull, insta must pull for free to plays. Sig is a must pull too. You need to get absolutely everything, absolutely game changing. And it's like, brother, chill out, okay? It ain't that crazy, okay? It ain't that crazy. Now, I will say what Lene and Mornai remind me of, and I've talked about this before, is they remind me of Hyacine and Tribby from HSR. Like, they make a lot of older DPS teams very good if you just combine those two on the team together because of their synergy, right? Keep in mind, they're still missing their main DPS, right? Here's the thing you need to understand. With Lene and Mornai is currently calced to be stronger than fucking Augusta. Okay? That is a triple sub DPS team or a duo sub DPS team. No main DPS. It is like 1.9 mil per rotation. So when they do get their main DPS, it's gonna be fucking cinema, right? But yeah, they make a very strong wheelchair comp for a lot of older DPSs currently, and that's why like they're getting pretty hard glazed. I can't even blame people who glaze it, right? Like, it is kind of deserved glaze. Even Lene using San Hua and Mornai in her main DPS, like it's not anything special at all, but it's like Jinshi hyper carry level. But that's with San Hua. That's what's fucking San Hua. There's no premium second sub DPS for her. Also, with how fast a San Hua rotation is, I'm sure you could get off tune breaks much faster with a Lene Mornai comp. Because you just get way more Lene field time, and Lene can fucking eat up that off tune build up bar. You are saying Augusta SK is weaker than Mornai Lene? Yeah. Unless you maybe do like quick swap. I can't speak on quick swap shenanigans, but like average rotations, yeah. Is stronger than Augusta. 1.9 million excluding tune break and Mornai adding off tune speed, yeah. So yeah, they kind of just make a wheelchair. Kind of because I skipped Augusta. Yeah, it's because there's been no good res lib buffer. Like, main damage output comes from her liberation, but the next best lib buffer in the game is Yin Lin. And I don't think anybody really needs to talk too much about Yin Lin's value. So now that we have a new res lib buffer, and she's also the new strongest sub DPS basically, I mean, yep, it's kind of how it goes. I'm putting my stocks though, like I'm putting my stocks into the main DPS for the Toon Break team to do 2.5 to 2.6 million a rotation. For reference, current strongest team with an average rotation is 2.1 million. I'm putting my stocks in it because there's zero way they let a team slip by like that and they don't capitalize on a main DPS that's significantly stronger. I refuse to believe it. I have been clearing right and left tower with Yuno solo. Imagine I get her sub DPS and weapon. Yeah, it'd be pretty nice. Is Yuno and Augusta kind of like Castris and Evernight in the sense? No. Nah. Not really. I don't think so. I don't think they're really similar in any, like, metric. The jump Yuno gives to Augusta is kind of more similar to what Ceridra gave to Phanon pre-Cyrene. Like, it's actually pretty close. Oh, unless you're talking about like a sub DPS being able to be ran main. Yeah, 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 yeah. In that metric, yes. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's more like Herda and Anoxa. Yeah. Actually, yeah, that's a really good way to put it. Yes, yes, yes. Herda and Anoxa. Because Anoxa ended up getting buffed by Cyrene while Herda didn't get anywhere near as buffed. It's kind of the same situation here with Lene buffing Yuno significantly, but not really buffing Augusta. So yeah, that would be a pretty good way to put it. Although Yuno, of course, was never stronger than Augusta in her main DPS, before this. So that should be mentioned. Anoxa was basically always stronger than Herda and MOC and APOC. Unless Herda was getting shield. I hope the new Broadblade standard is better than Gion's weapon. Don't keep your hopes too high. Better than Gion? Nah, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't remember what the Broadblade is. The Broadblade gave crit damage, right? I don't remember the passive, though. Don't you need, like, Toon Strain for it? I think Gion's would still be better. Will the new standard weapons replace the current ones? Not really. You will still use Static Mist for a lot of sub DPSs. And then Static Mist versus the new one, if you're using it in main DPS, the difference is 20% damage bonus, which, like, I'm going to be honest, that isn't crazy. Like, people are really overhyping how much these standard weapons change. Adding 20% damage bonus is maybe like a 4% increase. Like, I'm just going to go out and say it, right? Because no one's really said it in their videos when glazing these standard weapons. If you get more Nye's S1, right, and you can now activate 40% damage bonus in any team, you know how much that increases team performance? Like 8%, 9% total. And that is 40% damage bonus, okay? Like, this standard weapon gives 20%. It's half of that. So, it's not going to be like an insane game changer. Like, I think the best example I can give, if they make new SIGs, like let's say 5 to 7% stronger as compared to 2.x, then we're literally right back where we were in 2.x with weapons getting like, you know, 30% plus jumps over standard. I was talking more about Augusta than Gian. My ult doesn't have Augusta Sig. Well, yeah, but like, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. The standard is not gonna be better than Gian Sig for Augusta. Like, it's just not happening. Like, I was first questioning it if maybe you were talking about general use, but on a heavy attacker, 100% it's not gonna be better than Gion's weapon. I can guarantee you that right now. It's not happening. Hopefully we'll never reach Prolova level of damage difference. Well, the thing is, like, Augusta's is already, like, really close to Prolova's. Like, the only reason Pridewind underestimates the jump is because they have a different way of calculating weapon jumps. I think they do it when the character is by themselves with no teammates, and then they see the damage increase without including teammate buffs, right? So, like, for example, on Pridewind, it shows, I think, Prolova Sig 43% jump, and Augusta Sig like 33% jump, right? But if you were to look at Chem's calcs instead, he has Prolova Sig at still near 40% at around 38, 39. But Augusta's is also 38 to 39%. So if you actually use these weapons in their best in slot teams, Augusta has the same weapon jump as Prolova's signature. And you could even see this in, I believe, Sweetly's guide when she first made a video on Augusta. I believe she already made a video on like weapon versus no weapon, and she also got like 37, 38% difference if I remember correctly in terms of performance time. Augusta has other options. Fro has only her Sig. Yeah, Augusta can still use Gion's pretty well because she's also a heavy attacker. String Master, even though it's good, Prolova's signature still has a decent jump from even String Master. Mm-hmm. Hypothetically, if I skip Lene and get Mornai S1, am I good for 3.0? I mean, Mornai's best in slot team is always going to be with Lene, right? Like, if you think about it, if you were willing to go into the Toon Break team, Lene plus Mornai is probably better value than just getting S1 Mornai. Just depends on what you want. If you know you're never gonna go for a Toon Break team, then yeah, S1 Mornai has like pretty decent value. What is that Q tech? What Q tech? I'm just doing stuff. I mean, there is a Q tech, but like you don't use it when you're running him solo, really. It's this one. It saves like 1 or 2 seconds. But because I just run him solo or like S2 Varina where his field time is like 80%, I just spam heavy attack. How much does Cartethia want signature? If I remember correctly, it's like 27%. I can actually just check Pride one right now for you. They probably have a decently general thing. Pride win, Wuthering Waves, weapons. Actually, no, I need to go to characters. I can't go to weapons. Arrow, cart, weapon. It's 30%, 31% around there. Any leaks on the Cyberpunk collab? No. Although, like, okay, here's a hot take though. The jump that Cartethia has might be even more disgusting than Prolova's or Augusta's when you think about it, right? Because the standard rectifier and the standard broadblade we've had until now have been complete dog shit. So like it's semi understandable why they have that big of jumps, but Cartethia literally has EOG. You, you know what I'm saying? Like she literally has EOG. Hello, Uni. It's going pretty decent. I mean, that is because they made her an HP scaler, though. Like, the attack on EOG is completely fucking useless because they made her an HP scaler. EOG, Emerald of Genesis. It's the sword standard 5-star. We need info on a 3.0 main DPS. I mean, Wua does this shit on purpose. They really like releasing supports before DPSs. It's one of the few things I like about HSR and the way they do like character placements more than Wua. It's like they release the DPS first, and then after they release the supports, so you can see like how big of a jump it is and how worth it they are. But Wua's like, nah, bro, you either YOLO it right now, or you can't pull them for like half a year if you end up wanting to pull them after you see the DPS performance. Like, it's your choice, man. Do you want to get baited or you think Kuro will make their own version of HSR? I wish they'd have a go at it. I've always talked about this. Like I've mentioned this so many times. I wish Kuro would make like their own turn-based like HSR type game. Like give a shot at it. I genuinely give that shit a real chance. Like people always talk about, right? Like, oh, they're copying. And it's like, yeah, they're copying, but if they make a product better, then I'm gonna play it. Right? Like, I don't care if someone copies another person, so long as they improve upon the formula. Ethereal is bad? Yeah, Ethereal is bad. Have you ever thought of getting Expedition 33? I did. I just haven't played it. You guys think I should forget Cart and focus on Augusta Sig if I can't get Cart in her Sig? Well, do you have Chacona? Like, I'm gonna be honest. We're talking about Sig. Chacona matters more than Cart's Sig for Cart. Like, Chacona is the real Cart signature. In all honesty, that's the real signature. My ult has Chacona, then I'd get Cart plus weapon. If you can. Even Cart without weapon with Chacona should actually still be like really solid. Because otherwise, you're kind of putting your Chacona to waste, in my opinion. And that's not really worth it. I take full advantage of the strongest main DPS currently, considering you have her teammate. Dahlia made my E0 Firefly no longer S. Yeah, I've seen a few videos about that. Like, a lot of people underestimated her. I think when it comes to Super Break, what a lot of people don't understand, especially for Super Break supports, they don't only help Super Break DPSs, right? It's not like characters that can have specific buffs locked for memo sprites. For example, like Everknight's E1 or Everknight's base kit. But like Super Break, literally anyone can do it. You know what I'm saying? Even if you aren't built for it, anyone can still do it anyways. So like people are finding out and doing like 4-star only clears again, or technically as 4-star only close as you can get with Dahlia. And it's like, yeah, I don't know why people are surprised. Super Break has always been like the super cheap way to make, not limited, not good DPSs actually clear endgame. My E0 is 0, except May can 3-cycle Sam. Yeah, there you go. That's single target too. Not even taking full advantage of destruction. Lucia feels like a tuned down Kanta, but now I have to get her for Chisa, I think. You don't need to get her for Chisa. You could get the upcoming Fusion Burst DPS in 3.1. I don't think Lucia is going to be Fusion Burst. I mean, knowing Kuro, it's for sure a possibility, but she just doesn't look Fusion Burst like at all. Sigrika looks a lot more Fusion Burst like. That one cost run with Gallagher is insane. Yeah, I saw it. Can't bring myself to play Wua the last few months. Stopped at Yuno's story quest and can't go on. Even when I had a blast in the Flash Sovereign main story. It's fine to get burnt out of gachas. Like, I've always said this. A big problem I've had with a lot of this CC space, I think I've already made a video on this before too, is people will get burnt out and then they'll say these games are dying. But I don't think that's the case, and it's completely fine to get tired of playing a game almost every day. You know what I'm saying? Like these gachas, you don't put in a lot of time at once, but you put in a lot of time consistently. And that can lead to it eventually feeling like a chore and not like you're genuinely getting on to love and enjoy the game. So I think it's just way healthier to take a break when you know you want to take a break and only come back when you know you want to come back instead of trying to force it, right? Because a lot of gacha players, including myself, I will force myself to play some of these gacha sometimes just so I can get certain characters or make content on it. But if I wasn't a YouTuber, I would probably take a complete break from gachas for a few months instantly. I'd probably come back when the Cyberpunk collab comes back. Can I use Arrow Rover in Chisa if I don't have Chacona? Um, you can, but it wouldn't be pretty. Because neither of them inflict arrow erosion like Chacona does. Like, yeah. Yeah. That sounds a little scuffed. What's your opinion on picking up gachas late, like HSR, ZZZ, or WUWA? Well, technically, I started HSR during Pentagony, which is around like a year later, right? Um, I did play WUWA in beta, and I think I played Genshin when they released Inazuma. I think is when I got into Genshin, right? So I started these games sometimes 1 or 2 years late. I don't have much issue with it. If anything, I think if you get into these gachas late, it's probably better for you the later you get into them because your ability to get pulls for like characters is just so much higher, right? For example, I recently saw on a Reddit post, I think a few days ago, that someone on Genshin decided to make a completely new account and max absolutely everything in Genshin in I think about 2 months. And guess how many pulls they got? I want you guys to put down in the comments how many limited pulls you guys you think they got. See you later, King Phoenix. Take care. Thanks for stopping by. 500? Nope. Way higher. 500, 600? Way higher. It's in the quad digits. The thousands. They got 1300. 1200 or 1300. One of the two. Within 2 months of Genshin. By maxing everything. 1300 pulls is fucking insane. Like, that is absolutely disgusting. Pulls, not primos? No, pulls. Obviously not primos. 1300 primos you can get from playing the game for like half an hour, probably. It was straight up pulls. In HSR right now, I believe if you max absolutely everything, you can probably get 400 plus to around 500 pulls. And that's within a patch, not within like 2 months like that guy. So if you give yourself more time, it can technically be more. But yeah, Genshin, because of how long it's been out at this point, it's more than half a decade old now. They have a lot of pulls that you can farm. A fuck ton. That's an easy C6? Yeah. The average for getting a C6, because Genshin basically has the same pity system as HSR for characters, it's like 800, 900 pulls. and that's like closer to guarantee. I think the average is like 700. You can instantly make like 2 or 3 premium teams with that, unless you're just that unlucky. That's 208,000 primos. Yeah. That's 2 million primos. No, guys, chill, chill, chill. 100 pulls is 1600. It's 16,000 primos every 100 pulls, which means 1,000 is 160k. So it's nowhere near 2 million. Five versions does that. Yep. Although you got to keep in mind that's literally maxing out everything the game has to offer. Like everything, okay? It's like really unrealistic to do in that time frame because let's say maxing out HSR's content probably is significantly faster than maxing out Genshin's content because of the open world. Farming those pulls takes a lot of effort. Yeah, exactly. Don't underestimate a new player in the honeymoon phase. Oh, I won't. I believe it, man. New players that are like completely new to this type of style of game, they would just be completely in love with it. They wouldn't have any issues putting in the time. But if you're already someone who plays these gacha games for quite a long time, I bet you probably wouldn't be able to do it unless you really had the dedication for it. Gacha Smack fighting against the new bundle because it gets bought a lot and the next patch's pull counts might drop more in the future. Huh? If it gets bought a lot. No, I don't think that happened. What? I don't think they'd reduce the pull count because of dolphin slash whales spending money on bundles. That's like, I think, a pretty unrealistic stance. You can have an entirely different discussion about how much of a scam the bundles are in these gachas. Like that, I agree with Gacha Smack on. I saw it on Twitter at least, where he was flaming the $40 bundle because Expedition 33 is the same price, if not actually cheaper currently, because of a Christmas sale. And to be honest, I agree. Gacha characters are incredibly fucking overpriced, but I don't know about decreasing pull counts because of bundles. That's crazy. I think that's a pretty big stretch. Like, I made a community post that I deleted after an hour, but during this Christmas sale, right? Sekiro, Hollow Knight Silk Song, Elden Ring, Elden Ring Night Rain, and Expedition 33. These are five of some of the most top tier games of the decade, basically. Right. Buying all five of those games is cheaper than being able to guarantee a single limited character in WUA, HSR, or these other games. Like, it came out to like 160 Canadian for me, I believe, which is 160 Canadian is probably around 120 USD. That only gets you a little more than a $100 pack. uh, It's insane, yeah. Like people in the gacha space who have just been in it for as long as they have will usually like never really come to their senses about this stuff until they actually see and compare to like real games, right? Like top of the line games of the year or decade, like I just mentioned. And then it's like, wow, bro. Like, wow. This shit is a scam. It is an insane scam because a lot of people are used to it. And to be honest, there's games with even worse pity systems than like WUWA HSR and stuff. Like there are many more games with worse systems that are even more predatory than this. Like before I got into gacha games and I was like mid-teens watching people play gachas, I genuinely thought these people's parents was Jeff Bezos when I saw videos of them C6ing characters in Genshin. Like I just didn't understand it. Oh wait, no, that would be late teens actually. Yeah, about 16 to 17 years old. Because like C6ing a character in Genshin, for example, like that shit's like $1,000, bro. It can be more than that if you're unlucky. And some of these content creators would do it for every single character drop. I had no idea how much content creation paid back then though. Like if you're one of those top Genshin creators, you 100% make the money back. So like now I understand it, but at the time I was genuinely just in disbelief. If characters were cheaper, power creep and HP inflation would shoot up tenfold. Well, hot take. I'd rather buy like let's say Wuthering Waves just had like a 40 or $50 buy-in and then they forever updated it with upcoming characters every single patch and content updates. I would much rather that. It's not even close. But they obviously don't do this because the whales, right? Like the top 1 to 2 percenters in these gacha games, they will spend thousands and thousands and thousands, right? So one whale will make enough or like put in enough money for like 50 to 100 people's buy-ins, and that's why they decide to make these games so-called free to play, right? Because then they can justify being significantly more predatory on the gacha system. It could be worse though. I guess they could have a buy-in and then at the same time have a gacha. They could just do both, but they decided not to. But nonetheless, it's crazy. PGR gives enough pulls to get older characters. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think they just made Wuwa to compete with Genshin, and they don't care about anything else, to be honest. They really don't. Like, because their competition is Genshin, they don't even need to really try. Yeah, exactly, Uni. Like, for example, let's say I did spend money for my S6 QU1, right? Like, starting from Zero Pity. Imagine, this is my favorite character in the game. This is what got me into the game. I decided to get him S6R1 with my money. I think S6R1ing in this game is cheaper than other games though because you can buy sequences. So let's say like $600, right? 5 to 600 USD to max out this QU1 on average. This QU1 at S6R1 currently in his hyper carry with like more Tefi plus SK is maybe equal to an S0 Cartethia's premium team. And I spent $500 to $600 on his ass. And we now have Lene, who like I don't know, man. Lene is so strong as a sub DPS, and she's simply like the first step into version 3. I'm gonna be honest. My S6Q1 is going to lose value faster than an S0 Lene. Like it just is what it is. It just is what it fucking is, man. Ugh. It's just depressing. Now, do keep in mind, this is like one of the worst case scenarios, right? Like, sub DPS Brant, he can be ran as a very powerful main DPS at S6, right? Like, he's significantly stronger than even Cartethia S0 premium team if you have him in his premium team with S6. Same thing kind of goes for Yuno right now because of the fact that she's getting buffed by Lene. This is the worst case scenario or one of the worst case scenarios, but it's the fact that it can happen, right? It's a real thing. Someone can go full maxed out investment on a character and they just age fucking terribly because of power creep. Like, imagine owning an S6 Yinlin, right? Just think about that. Put yourself in the shoes of someone who pulled an S6 Yinlin on release. That sounds depressing, okay? Like, that is depressing in my opinion. Did I come into a Gabby crash out? Chill. I'm just venting my frustrations about how underwhelming S6QU1 is. QU1 has the potential to be expanded upon. Yeah, I don't disagree, but I don't know. Like, Lene just has so much stronger vertical investment, man. It's kind of sad. And just general use because of the tune break stuff. I'm just hoping they, like, similar to Yuno, I hope they release another echo damage sub DPS so I can run this guy's main DPS really well. I'm really praying for that. Geshu Lin will be an insane echo DPS. Well, yeah, that's kind of the problem, though. I don't want to make my S6Q1 a sub DPS. Please, don't do this. Please. Actually, now that I think about it, my Prolova would probably be stronger using S6QU1 as a sub DPS than running QU1 main DPS with Mortefi SK. Huh. I kind of didn't think about that. There's no power creep in Wuwa. I mean, people get the understanding of power creep mixed up. Like, it just depends. Like, people think, like, at least in the Wuwa side, when we talk about power creep and shit, they take it as um, older characters can no longer clear completely. Like, that's how they take it. So long as any older character can clear at all, they'll nitpick that and they'll say there's no power creep in the game. That's kind of how it goes in this community. In the HSR community, people just take power creep as new character is stronger than older one, so no one really tries to like have arguments about it or any. Like everybody's kind of on the same page. Like yeah, newer characters are way stronger. Oh really, Uni? That's nice. Even HSR 1.0 characters can clear. Well, yeah, but you know, every time I've mentioned that, people always use the same like excuse against me when I bring this up. They don't use the same excuse for Wua, by the way. If Wua, if they're nitpicking some content creator that has fucking maxed out echoes on characters and DPSs, they don't give a shit. They're like, yeah, that's just part of the game. Grind more. But every time I've brought up 1.0 characters being able to clear the end game content, the thing I've always been met with is, oh, the relic quality. Oh, the relic quality. So, can Calcharo still clear? Yeah. There are some sweats who do like a fuck ton of cancels on him and like swaps. They can probably clear with a Calcharo without too much issue. A lot of 1.x characters and HSR need 2.x and 3.x supports to clear, while full 1.x teams can still clear mainly due to Shorekeeper existing. Full 1.x team and HSR might have a lot more trouble. I don't disagree, but like, for one, HSR is 1 year older. If we were to go back 1 year and make it the same age as WUA, a full 1.x team probably would still clear. But two, WUA players kind of have this double standard where, like earlier I was mentioning often, like they will bring up Gion being good for endgame for like an average player, and then say with and Chacona, right? Or they'll say like this older character is better, but it's Prolova completely carrying. Or like they'll say Zhang Liao, right? For example, Zhang Liao, and then they'll bring up a Lene plus Mornai wheelchair comp. So I don't really see much of a difference. Like here's the thing, there was I believe 1 or 2 patches ago in HSR. I always bring this up. Someone, I saw their YouTube channel. They cleared using a 4 cost team with at least, I would say, no 3.x characters, right? They did use 2.x, but no Eidolons and no Lycones with main DPS Jing Yuan, right? And I think that's really solid. That is really, really solid. They used E0 as Zero Avon, Robin, Sunday, and Jing Yuan. And they got like a 5 or 4 cycle. And then with the free Don Hung PT, they ran it back. And then they got a 3 cycle, if I remember correctly. It should also be much easier for people to do low cost clears for endgame now because of Dahlia as well. Because Dahlia, she enables break and she's super broken for break. So that's a big buff to the non-limited break DPSs. But yeah, it's like a non-question. Here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. HSR has okay, here's my take on WUA versus HSR and how they sell their characters, right? HSR releases new characters that are way too overpowered for the endgame content. So even though the power creep and HP inflation is way more rampant, they still last a decent while because of the fact that they were released so overpowered. In WUA, they release DPSs that are kind of like underpowered to mid powered, in my opinion. Like they aren't really usually broken, and you usually need to pull like multiple things to actually get their full potential. But in return, there's less power creep and HP inflation. That's like my take on how HSR and WUA kind of do their stuff for endgame content difficulty. Because for example, if HSR had its same power creep, but it didn't have the same HP inflation. Let's say it had Wuwa levels of HP inflation, right? A Phanon would legit be able to clear endgame content with a free-to-play team, no joke, for a decade. Half a decade to a decade with no teammate upgrades. Like, that's how well characters in HSR would fare if they had Wuwa levels of HP inflation. They just make new DPSs in HSR so goddamn overpowered. How did you cancel the fall damage? If you switch to a character right when you're about to hit the ground, you don't take fall. I'll actually just show you right here. So I'll jump off, I'll switch to Mort, and I won't take damage. It resets it. I did not know that. Yeah, I found it out like a while back. I think it's more fun to have HSR's overly powered DPSs. I mean, they kind of make up for it with how broken Eidolons are right now. So if you do choose to reinvest in a team, you can make them like twice as strong for probably like 2 or 3 cost a lot of the time. But, eh. Still sucks. Still sucks. Learned that right now and I've played since release. Oh. Well, there you go. Something new. A little fun fact. In Wua, you have time to practice combo slash rotations. In HSR, once you speed tune your team, there's nothing to do with your team. So the rotation of new teams is faster. I already talked about this before, but the ceiling of a DPS increase you can achieve through learning optimal rotations for characters in Wuwa is significantly less than learning how to optimally play an HSR team and optimally investing in them. We talked about this I think in yesterday's stream because people always bring up the fact like, oh, Wuwa has a skill gap thing, but like here's the thing: both games base their end game content off of average player investment and average player knowledge. So that's always the benchmark. And in HSR, going from an average player to a veteran player who knows what they're doing, you instantly make a team sometimes 2 to 3 times as strong. In the best case scenarios of Wuwa, going from an average rotation to a sweaty rotation is at max like a 50 to 60% DPS increase. And those are like the best case scenarios. Like Zanny, Cartethia double plunge rotation, mono fusion, quick swap, right? Like all this shit, max like 50 to 60%. Like you will see average players struggle to clear endgame content with their Fei Xiao, and then you'll see top of the line HSR players do low cost zero cycles, despite the fact that we're nearly in version 4 at this point with Fei Xiao. There is just such a huge like knowledge diff being a top HSR player as compared to an average one. I think it's way bigger than like a top Wuwa player to an average one. The knights in the new anomaly arbitration are significantly harder. However, the actual boss is the easiest one so far, is the common consensus. I think average WUA players are really bad. I mean, yeah, if we go like, if we start actually looking at the average player of these games, they're both abysmal dog shit. Okay, like they're both trash. Okay, I'm just assuming average player is like average knowledge on the game, not actually average player. Okay, actually average players in these gacha games genuinely blow. They probably don't even try to do the end game content. Like end game content, they don't even consider it, man. Yeah, average end game player. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Even then, it's a bit of a stretch, but yeah, average end game player is kind of like the closest I can get it. Actual average Woowa player is doing a 45-second Carlotta rot. uh, yeah. Average HSR players, from what I've seen on TikTok and Twitter, man, they don't do any fucking speed tuning. They have no clue what characters synergize with another. They just throw whatever the fuck, hope it clears, and then complain about power creep and say that like the game is ruined. Like you guys need to understand there's people genuinely out there who genuinely believe, like, right, like from the bottom of their hearts, that if you don't spend all the pulls you get in HSR every patch constantly on newer characters, it's impossible to clear the endgame content. That's like a genuine thing people believe. HSR was supposed to be a chill game after all, so I'm not surprised that average HSR players are ultra casual. Well, yeah, it makes sense when you consider the audience. Like, if we think about it, out of probably all of Hoyo's games, even including Wuwa, it's the most casual, right? It's the most casual. Um, you can auto everything. It's the most easily playable on mobile. Like it doesn't get much easier. There's no really like open world exploration. You get majority of the pulls from events and stuff. It's just so easy, right? But because its nature is turn based, well, the power creep's pretty silly, man. It's pretty fucking silly. Clear, you mean 9-star knight? No, even an average player struggles to just like um at all get through like the first three floors of AA. Especially with the beefed up knights recently, I genuinely just wouldn't be surprised if the average casual player can't even 1-star some of the knights, if any at all, unless they're whales. Average player can't even reach AA. Yeah, that's the other thing. You actually need a full clear all endgame content to even access AA. So yeah, that is kind of another filter. 9-star knight is not possible unless you have every new character. Uh, maybe that's true. I mean, I think I saw a Yun Li or a Clara run actually. I think against one of the knights that got a 3-star. Is Firefly new? I mean, no, but they probably include Dolly on that. It's probably what they include. I put the fries in the bag with 6, then got Dahlia and got 8. Hey, that's still pretty good though. Yeah, HSR can be decently matchup reliant. I've talked about it before, but like in HSR, it plays a huge part in understanding enemy mechanics and having the characters and knowledge to actually counter them. Like this is one of the things where, in my opinion, unless you're playing holograms, Wua just doesn't really have this issue. Like all enemies, they have pretty easily learnable move sets, and once you get it down, you can kind of just do clean rotations on them all the time. Like anyone can go against any enemy so long as it doesn't have like res against them. But in HSR, like you can be pretty hard chilled. Or you could be like debuffed from an enemy that's like your weakness, right? Like put a Herda against a Hule. That's not gonna look pretty, okay? It's just not gonna look pretty. But if you put Yun Li against Hule, all of a sudden she looks like she's 3.x DPS level. Which characters kickstarted this whole archetype stuff? What, in Wua? Or just generally? To be honest, for Wua, it's probably just negative status. Either like mono fusion or negative status. In HSR, I mean, HSR kind of instantly did it with Blade, actually. Like, the second they added an HP scaling character, people knew what was going to kind of happen in the future. Yeah, Phoebe Zan. I wouldn't say it started with Phoebe Zanny, but that's probably when most people woke up, I'd say. Like, because you can technically call an archetype like multiple different things. But yeah, that's when it became like blatantly obvious. Now, people were glazing negative status when it first got leaked, though. Like, people were hard glazing. At the beginning, everybody was like, oh, this is going to be something that, like, a bunch of people can take advantage of. It's going to be a cool new, like, different gameplay loop. Nope. It's only, like, patches after Zanny and Phoebe where people, like, it became common consensus, right? That, like, wow, negative status is kind of a bit of a flop. And they really just did this to sell characters. And to be honest, Toon Break is getting the exact same glaze currently. And it's going to end up the exact same way, in my opinion. It's getting glazed because everyone can so-called do Toon Break, but people are ignoring that the Toon Break specific characters have sub-mechanics that can benefit from Toon Break way more. So I think they're going to be disappointed by Toon Break as well, probably. Because don't get me wrong, I love gachas adding new things into the gameplay loop, and Toon Break could be a decently cool thing. I'm not saying it can't, but it's just so straightforward. You know what I'm saying? Like, you end up building up the off tune bar, you press F, and that's it. You just keep doing your rotation. Like, it doesn't really add anything of like gameplay value, in my opinion. It's not really game changing. It can be useful against holograms if you're trying to stagger them, maybe. But that's like such a niche case scenario, in my opinion. Just call it Super Break. Dude, there were so many people pissed by my first Toon Break video calling it Super Break when they didn't fully understand why I called it that. I've been iffy on calling it Super Break as openly, but yeah, it's basically just Super Break. You think people were playing semantics with the alter ego thing? 100%. I left like one last comment and I just instantly stopped interacting with that post because people went into like looking for dictionary definitions of alter ego instead of just actually understanding what is blatantly obvious, which is like a separate persona of the character showing up, right? They did this with Cart, they did it with Phoebe, they did it with Zhang Liao, they did it with Carlotta in game, they did it with Chisa, and they did it with Lene. And people are trying to tell me that I'm like, oh, you're just trying to hate. Like, bro, it's not that deep, man. It's not that deep. Like, we can admit it, man. They spam this shit, okay? They spam alternate versions of a character that have contradicting ideals or like a contradicting personality all the time. It's common, man. We can just admit it. It doesn't mean Kuro's gonna EOS. I feel like Toon Break is more like regular break, while the stuff the characters add to it is super break. No, yeah, that's what I mean though. Yeah, that's what I mean. I've been saying this entire time. Like when I made my video on Toon Break, if you were like, "Oh, why are you calling it Super Break?" I think I explained it in the comments or like on a community post or something. Toon Break itself is no different to like a normal weakness break, right? But these sub mechanics that specific characters have, doesn't that sound a lot like Super Break? That can increase the break damage, right? That sounds even more like Super Break. That's basically the Super Break equivalent, right? But people are like, nah, man. Like you're just trying to make comparisons to put Wuwa down and give it copy allegations. Like no, HSR is just my main game. That's what I relate it to. It doesn't go any deeper than that, man. Everybody thinks every time I mention like HSR when I'm talking about Wu or something that it's like to put this game down and that like I'm trying to make HSR look good. Like no. What the fuck, man? Sometimes I just draw, things I see similar. That's it. Can't you save the tune break for when bosses start doing their strongest or most annoying moves? I mean, you can, but then you're just wasting time on a second rotation for like you're prolonging a rotation. For endgame content, nobody would probably do that. Unless they start adding fucking ZZZ miasma bosses that are invincible for like a 20 seconds or something. But if they don't do that, you're just prolonging a rotation and holograms. But actual endgame content, like you probably never prolong a tomb break because you instantly want to do the second rotation right after. Intro and outro skills in Wuwa wasn't exactly a new thing. See, this I can't speak on. I can't speak on, whether or not the intro and outro skills in Wuwa are unique or not. Because I legit haven't played any other games with something similar. So like that's why I never speak about that shit, right? I just draw, similarities from HSR because that's my main game. That's really as far as it goes. Wait, am I stuck? There we go. Will communities used to hating on other games? I mean, like, yeah, that's probably an aspect. I've already talked about it before, but like, I guarantee you, at minimum, the reason why 50% of people act the way they do, and like this WUA community, and why they're so defensive about their game, is because of the CCs, like, kind of pushing this shit. Because it's free engagement. That's what made the biggest views for the biggest Gacha content creator at the time. Like, if it weren't for those CCs, I genuinely think WUA and its community would be looked at so much fucking better. I think it'd have a better community than any of the Hoyo games if it weren't for fucking old Hoyo CCs going to it. Like, if you meet an actual WUA player who has never interacted with like this tribalism shit or these content creators, they are genuinely some of the chillest people in the space, man. Like, they are so fucking chill. And it's so nice to have like real discussions about this shit. It reminds me of when I first played WUA beta and like WUA wasn't super popular at the beginning and not too many CCs were overhyping it and comparing it and all this shit. People were just talking about the game itself and whether or not it was good. And people, you could see criticisms everywhere. No one would get flamed for the criticisms, right? But these days, bro, you're a CC or anyone at all, you say like a WUA criticism in a WUA space, you're getting your shit downvoted to hell. Okay, like it is very rare for anyone to agree with you with like the tribalism that is what it is these days. Like, here's my hot take, bro. You see like all this drama in the WUA space with these CCs, with like CC battles and shit, right? But let me ask you this, right? Let me ask you this. What about HSR? I personally, ever since like all these CCs left, like Tectone, Gotcha Smack, like all these people, right? I haven't seen a mainly HSR content creator make any videos talking about like woo or stuff outside of me. Like, like no one actually makes like comparison videos or really anything like that. HSR is currently one of the most calm like gotcha spaces in terms of the CC space. There is like no drama at all. It is almost non-existent. And keep in mind, when those CCs, you all know who I'm talking about, were playing HSR, there was new fucking CC drama content every month, every 2 months. You saw that shit incredibly consistently. They're gone, and now so is the drama, right? That's why I believe what I do about these CCs being like the main pedal for this type of shit is because it just kind of is the truth. Like, there's a track record of it. HSR players like bashing the game more than bitching. Yeah, that's another thing, bro, right? Like, dude, Axe, Floor, like, Wave Man, like these people, they make so many videos actually calling out the game on where it really fucks up, and nobody has a problem with their videos almost ever, right? Like at all, because they actually have played the game, they've put in the time, maybe even money. Like, you know, they aren't arguing in bad faith. Like, this criticism comes from the bottom of their hearts. So nobody has a problem with that shit. The only reason people take such an issue and why there's always so much gotcha war with like WUA CCs namely is because WUA CCs will always blindly hate. They will never fully understand the usually Hoyo game that they're talking about and trying to criticize. And so to people who don't play these Hoyo games, they might sound intellectual, right? They might sound like they really know what they're talking about because of the way they form their sentences and the way they speak. They're charismatic. But if you actually play these games, then you're like, wait a second, this shit don't even make sense, right? Like, what is this person saying? You know what I'm saying? Like 90% of the time. Do you think DNA counts as a gacha game? They have it for skins, no? But not for characters? Not really. I wouldn't really consider that a gacha game, though. Yeah, but Saint doesn't care if he gets clowned on by people who actually play ZZZ, because people who don't play ZZZ will find him entertaining nonetheless and just believe everything he says because he said it. Like, at some point, I've talked about this before, when you get big enough in this CC space, you will always have, like, blind believers. And they absolutely don't care. Someone could have an entire expose on them, and there's definitive proof for everything. No one cares, bro. Like, people will genuinely just not give a shit. They'll keep watching that person. Once you get big enough, you just can't be canceled. You just can't lose credibility, really. Or you can, but not completely, I'd say. Yeah, like, you guys need to understand. If Saint suddenly started actually caring about all these games and talking about like their in game and shit and having real credible takes instead of inflammatory takes that he can make at any time he wishes and not have to play the game doing so, and at the same time get more views and money because it's an inflammatory take. Like, I'm gonna be honest, 99% of people are going down the Saint route of content if they care mostly about the money. That's just how it's gonna go. Okay? It is free money. It's free. 99% of CCs on here don't have a fucking moral compass if enough money is thrown at them. That's the reality. Like, I just saw recently. Now, I haven't gotten into this game yet. I said I might give it a shot, but I haven't gotten into it yet, right? Blue Archive. They sponsored a content creator, a huge one, or like a streamer or something, who has openly in the past said that like he hates lolly. He finds the game incredibly weird. He like doesn't condone that shit at all. He hates it to the bottom of his heart, right? And he's gone out attacking people who do like that stuff, right? And he then accepted a sponsorship for the game to play it and advertise it to his community. Like, brother. Now, Blue Archive received a fuck ton of backlash for this, okay? They received a fuck ton of backlash because their community was like, no way you're sponsoring someone who openly hates this fucking game. Like, there is proof they hate the player base, the community, the game. Like, they just don't care, right? And so Blue Archive like pedaled back and were like, nah, nah, nah. Right. Exactly. Like that is 98% of people in this world, I'd say. If you are just slapped with enough money and you know you'll make way more money in one route as compared to the other, people will go against their morals. It just is what it is. I don't consider Saint fans as part of the WUA community. Most of them probably don't even play WUA and are just there to shit on Hoyo. I don't disagree. I've talked about this before, how like the main community of those types of WUA CCs are just ex Genshin players who could never move on and want to have like a superiority complex. Like they don't actually care about their own game improving. They don't care about like an objective truth. They just want to bash Hoyo as much as possible to make themselves feel better. That's kind of how it goes. I don't know why 77 people here are watching me yap on Christmas Eve, but appreciate you stopping by. Thank you for listening. I appreciate your support. Did you try Cyrene DPS? No. I always said it was pretty decent though. I think if I remember correctly, I said Cyrene DPS is better than like the low tiers of Amphorius DPS is like Maide and Aglaya. I think that still holds up. I think. Couldn't sleep? Understandable. 5 cost 0 cycles? Yeah, that's pretty solid. I was too locked in on BA. Not bad for a support? Yeah. She's very similar to Yuno in a way. Wuwa boss fights are goaded, but I don't like Wuwa's normal mobs? Yeah. I'm really curious about this new endgame. Oh, yes. Yes. Probably by tomorrow. Maybe late or whatever. The new patch should be out and we should have the new endgame, I think. Or are they gonna like delay the endgame? Does anyone know if the endgame drops like the second the patch drops? Cost is how much limited investment you have. So whether it be 5-star character copies or 5-star light cone or sorry, weapon. So if you have an Augusta without her weapon, that's 1 cost. If you have an Augusta S1, that's 2 cost. If you have an Augusta S1 R1, that's 3. It kind of goes like that. But the cost system in WUA is a little more flawed than the cost system in HSR. Because in WUA, weapon banners are guaranteed. In HSR, it's closer to a character 50-50. You can basically count weapons in WUA as like 0.5 cost probably. So like a full S0 R1 team would be 4.5. They said the endgame will be released during the version. Yeah, I hope it's just right when it drops though, because I want to instantly know what's going on with that. I also want to see how effective or not effective uh, Toon Break is on small mobs. Because to be honest, I get the feeling, and it makes sense, that you probably won't be able to Toon Break small mobs unless your damage is completely fucking abysmal. So let's say, for example, in Wiwa, because there's a token for Toon Breaking enemies, I think that's mainly for the elites and not actually for like small mobs. They said Toon Break on small mobs was automatic. I don't even know. I genuinely don't know. They also only showcase Toon Break against what's it called? They only showcase Toon Break against elite. Oh my god, voice crack. Against elites and bosses. I'm gonna get a water. Be right back. Hello. I have returned. If you were to start playing HSR right now, are you skipping the story or reading all that? I'm biased. Okay, okay. This will probably become very obvious when you once you learn this about me. In every story game I've ever played in my life since I was a kid, if there has been a skip button, I've skipped it. So that's why I don't make any lore content really. It's because I have absolutely no fucking clue what's going on in the lore. uh, ADHD final boss. I don't know if I still have ADHD. I don't even remember how ADHD works. I got it diagnosed when I was a lot younger, but since then I haven't bothered to like check if like maybe it went away or something. I don't remember how that shit works. So you're not playing Persona anytime soon? No. I had a cousin bothering me to play Persona for like half a year, and I never even considered trying it. So I goon to Zhongli. Thank you for letting me know that. I personally gooned a Scaramouche in Venti. Have you ever watched Dispatch? Nah. I just saw the hype around it on Twitter for like a little bit, and that was it. I also saw a bunch of drama of like Dispatch players getting mad at Wuwa for winning the Players' Voice Awards, as if they were gonna win if Wuwa didn't win. Like Expedition 33 was on there, man. It wasn't happening. You don't know anything about HSR's story? No, I do know a little bit from just like picking it up while I skip. I know some things, but it's minimal. Like, I understand that Emphorius was an entire stipulation set up by a piece of Xandar being Lycurgus in an attempt to create the perfect vessel for Iron Tomb that could take down the Erudition, which Lygus, or technically Xandar, made. Like I understand the general premise around Amphorius and like the flame chasers, like some of that stuff. As much as I love the skip button, having it in Wuwa has made me bored with Wuwa's story and lore because I feel like the Wuwa lore is mid. Yeah, I think a lot of people overhype Wuwa lore. I'm not saying it's like super bad or like bad, but I think what carries a lot of Wuwa and its story is the actual storytelling. Like compared to a lot of these gachas like HSR and like even Genshin and stuff, like in my opinion, Wuwa is a cut above the rest in terms of storytelling. But the others are a cut above Wuwa, if not further, when it comes to just plain story. Basically, imagine like Wuwa is basically Demon Slayer, right? Demon Slayer, it's like a mid story. It's nothing good or exceptional, but because of its animation, it's like the most hyped manga in the like history of this entire planet, right? Like I think they're second place for manga sales all time and first place for manga sales within the last 5 years by like 2 or 3x of second place. Um just because of like the sheer popularity of the anime. Like that's kind of woo basically. Yeah, solo leveling as well. You can make that comparison as well, yeah. Oh, really, Joe Snow? This will be a heartwarming story. uh, if Hoyo gives the money that they reserved for 2 million new games to HSR animators, HSR would be rank 1. I've talked about this like a lot. If they turned HSR with the amount of lore it has into an actual anime, it would easily be Like one of the most highly received animes of the decade, easily in my opinion. Like there is so much lore and like shit you can take from these games. It's so free. You could legit make a season, like you can make the anime seasonal for every single planet visit, and it would just like, oh bro, people would be insanely hyped for Amphorius. People would be crazy hyped for it. Even over Genshin, I'd say. I think HSR would probably pop off more with an anime. HSR Season 1, Bellabog and Lofu. HSR Season 2, Penacony. HSR Seasons 3 to 6, Amphorius. uh, Lore accurate, by the way. Lore accurate. In reality, they'd probably make like I think they could make Amphorius. To be honest, depends on how many episodes are in the season. 12? No. But if they do like 24, like a few animes do here and there, I think they could probably fit in Amphorius with that. Obviously, you're going to be missing a bunch of like integral lore stuff, but that's basically old animes these days. They don't go over literally every last detail that's kind of like shown up. So I think 24 episodes would be enough for Amphorius and a general enough understanding. Because you can just like people need to understand it's mostly just reading dialogue when it comes to HSR that makes Amphorius as long as it is and like all these patches that long. Once you start making characters actually talk and like animation and stuff, it is just way faster than normal. So they can fit it. Oh yeah. Dude, I still see the Phanon trailer. Like random anime accounts that usually do short clips of like really good animation and like animated fights and stuff on Twitter. They will pretty consistently post Phanon's fight against Nanook and Zephyro. Like that's already up there. And people in the comments are asking like what anime, what anime? And people respond HSR and they're like, "Oh." Like they're instantly sad. They're instantly depressed when they hear it's a gacha. New agenda's insane. Shanks stealing Roger's hockey knots. I've seen it, man. I literally just watched a video like an hour before I streamed of like the top 2025 agenda piece. And I'm seeing all these TikToks, man, of Shanks begging Roger for hockey knots, going to Whitebeard's grave to ask if he had them. Like, man, it's crazy. Goes viral on anime Twitter every few days? Yeah. I don't know why they don't make it an anime. Like, hot take. Actually, this is kind of what happened with Uma, right? Like, Uma Musume, I swear they have an anime, right? And when the anime came out, bro, like the popularity of Uma Musume fucking skyrocketed. If HSR is already making bank, right? Like keep this in mind. I believe they were calculated as 2025 Hoyo's top earner, a little bit more than Genshin, which means Genshin technically has a larger player base, because they release 5 stars more slowly, right, as compared to HSR. But nonetheless, if they made an anime of HSR, bro, it would be a titan. It would be a fucking titan in the space. I don't think it's crazy to say that their revenue would increase by at least like 30%. And keep in mind, anime is a lot cheaper than many people think, right? Like, for example, the Reze movie for Chainsaw Man to produce costed $2 million. Okay? HSR, even with how underwhelming Dahlia is, will probably make 5x of how much it costed to produce the Reze movie. Like, they have the money, okay? They have it. No fucking way, yeah. I believe it was leaked the production cost was 2 million, and that was because the revenue was like 60 plus million. So the profit was absolutely insane. Now, that's not a good thing because it obviously implies that animators are like incredibly underpaid, but it's just to show like you can produce a movie that high of quality for a fraction of what HSR makes alone in its revenue. That's not even like combining the revenues of Genshin and ZZZ. They should make a Bleach Soul Resonance anime. True. Oh yeah, Johnny. Talking about Chainsaw Man? Yeah. Fate series is proof that HSR and Genshin anime would go hard with all the lore. Oh, 100%. 100%. They're really sleeping on how much an anime or a movie could make them. They're hard sleeping on it. But then again, we do know at this point in time that they are working on HSR and Genshin projects for movies and anime. So it's not like they aren't working on it or aren't considering it. It's just that they're taking fucking forever to make it. They're taking a very long time. Not now because of the CNJP matter. I mean, that wouldn't really matter, at least when it comes to like the beginning of the story for Bellabog and like um Bellabog and Zhang Zhou. Like, if anything, animating Zhang Zhou is like more favorable for CN because Zhang Zhou is like a lot more Chinese based. Just realized pretty much every Stellar Ron Hunter is giga popular. No wonder they're the potential faction. Okay. But yeah, they're all really, really popular. I mean, it makes sense. They aren't like Emanator levels of like story main pushes usually, but nonetheless, they're like probably second to Emanators in terms of like being pushed by the story. So it's understandable. I think the most popular Emanator, eh, it's probably Acheron, but man, Herda is so goaded. Herda is so fucking goaded. Oh no, by push I mean like story and lore wise. Wait, actually, yeah, Firefly's more popular than some of the Emanators. Hmm, good point. Herda over Acheron. To be honest, at least with like the recent Amphoria stuff, yeah, it could be recency bias, but I like Herda more than I like Acheron. I still like Acheron's design and like combat and shit more, but I like Herda more in the story. Did I hear Herda? Uh, isn't Firefly the most popular character in HSR? Um, I think, yeah, I think. What's up, Solus? I mean, Acheron has done something. She's aura farmed. Think about it. Have you seen an aura farmer on the level of Acheron in the HSR story yet? Not really. The only one you can maybe make an argument for is Zephyro. Hype moments in aura. uh, Phanon, I don't think Phanon has as many aura moments as Acheron. Acheron acts like so unbothered to absolutely everything. And every time we've seen her, she's just one-shotted everything. So that applies more to her aura. It's like Shanks one-shotting Kid. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a big aura boost. IX is kind of OP in cheating, true. 5-day Yaoi has more aura. Hey, maybe it does. I wouldn't know though. He used Roger's hockey knot. True. She also has the bullet where Boot Hill uses to summon all the Galaxy Rangers. I actually forgot about that. Welt is up there too. Oh, 100%. Dude, I saw that thing about Welt's VA getting replaced, man. Oh, that's such a gut wrench. Like, I've seen all these other HSR VAs getting replaced and stuff, and I haven't really cared about them all that much. But, like, Welt, like, that's my guy, man. That's my guy. I haven't done the 3.8 story, so hopefully someone in this chat can answer for you. I've seen that on Twitter when people gained a full understanding of 3.eight's ending and the fact that it was already foreshadowed in Pentagony that that wasn't the real ending with Acheron, that like they found it to be peak. But the average player who couldn't catch on thought it was complete dog shit and retcon. So it's probably a matter of comprehension, probably, and like remembering what happened before in Pentagony. I'm average player. After playing 3.8, Xiaoji needs to be fired. 3.8 story fixed her issue. Firefly now feels like a good character. The duality of man. uh, nah, he can stay. He's chill. I support the side that defends Firefly. Understandable. Is Xiaoji being overhated? I mean, I will say, right, and I know people are going to disagree with this a lot, but they did kind of just like overwrite Cyrene, right? Like, keep in mind, almost no one has an issue with Phanon being related to Kevin Castellana, right? From Honkai Impact. No one has an issue with it because Phanon feels like his own original character and he has his own original design. But Cyrene is as close as you can get to just copy pasting. I think that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, including me. That's one of the biggest issues I had. It was just Cyrene. I loved Amphorius like mainly, except for like of course the first few patches because it was like build up, lore build up, so there wasn't really much crazy happening. But after that, I really just didn't fuck with Cyrene, and it showed in the banner sales as well. Like I think Phanon still outsold Cyrene, so that kind of goes to show. How's gaming today? I mean, I'm not really gaming. I'm just walking around and talking with chat. But yeah, I'm doing pretty well. Hope you're doing well too. Everyone Doom posted Cyrene. You can make the exact same fucking argument for Phanon, bro. Yeah, you should have like. I'm telling you right now, in my opinion, Phanon's beta is still the worst beta of any character in HSR history that I've had to experience. Like, the amount of brain rot Doom posting against him was fucking diabolical. I still think it's the worst. Are you summoning on Geen or skipping? I'm gonna be honest, I just have to skip. Like, I impulse pull Dyson, and it's already iffy if I'm even gonna be able to get his weapon in time. So I'm just gonna have to skip Geen for now. It's unfortunate, but I'll just wait for the next thrust DPS that pops up. I have been seriously considering the possibility of on Aizen's rerun maybe maxing his copies because in Bleach Soul Resonance, even this early on in the game, the difference in strength between like a copy 0 Aizen and a copy 6 Aizen is just astronomical. Like, even in main DPS, with keep in mind a 4-star spirit support and Kisuke, like, I think he competes with Toshiro and Bankai Ichigo. I think the Doom post for Cyrene was worse. I mean, the other thing is like a lot of people misunderstand the like Doom posting of Cyrene too, right? Like I've seen a lot of people say Cyrene is literally always complete garbage, even with the Christos heirs, right? Like this obviously isn't true, but I've seen a lot of people say like, "Oh, where were people now? Cyrene's best in slot for like all these teams currently," and it's like yeah, dude. Well, no, I don't think like most people are aware that so long as the Christos heirs are meta, Cyrene will be meta. Like the thing that most people brought up for Cyrene value is the second we go to a new version, especially because of HSR's power creep specifically. In other games, you can get away with it, but in HSR, not really, right? There is significant power creep every single version. Will Cyrene maintain that value even just 1 year into her lifespan, right? Midway through 4.x? And the answer is fucking no, okay? Like, absolutely not. Once we get 2 to 3 premium teams, and midway through 4.x, we have the anniversary character, like, people are just gonna forget about her, man. Like, no offense. I'm not gonna forget about her because I have an E6 Anoxa account, okay? And I have a Mono Remembrance account with full E2S1. In my specific case scenario, I still want Cyrene. But if you're someone who's like normally investing into E0 teams, I don't know, man. Being an HSR meta slave in this big age, I mean, like, it's not going to break your account. I think a lot of people over exaggerate. Like, when it comes to this meta shit, you can make, like, multiple, not the most optimal pulls in HSR, and you're going to get away unscathed, like, 99% of the time, unless you're pulling for some bullshit, right? But it's just the truth. Like, when talking about specifically meta value and, the future, which really matters in HSR, I mean, no one's going to be using a Cyrene for any 4.x teams. Let's be honest. It just ain't happening. She can't use DDD. She doesn't have as strong as base buffs as Tribby. Her E1 isn't as strong as Tribby's. Like, yeah. No, I'm just a tourist. I mean, that's fine. That's the best way to play these gachas. I swear to God. The best way to play all of these gacha games, be a tourist, be a casual, don't give a shit about meta or endgame. You will have 10 to 100 times the enjoyment of a meta slave. Okay? That includes me. You will have way better of a time. I simply have an issue of being sometimes a little too competitive for my own good in absolutely everything I do. Yeah, uni. Feels fucking great. Small Reen will come. Give it up, dude. Give it up. Okay? Just give it up. It's not happening. Will the Bleach Gacha release on PC? I don't think there's any plans for that currently. I'm gonna be honest, after they stop shilling AoE, Triby's E1 value is gonna lose. The thing is, they're never gonna stop shilling AoE though. Like, to be honest, this entire version has had at least AoE bosses at some point, right? Like, you may go like max 1 or 2 patches without AoE content, but then it always comes back. Like an enemy with summons that wants AoE characters to fully take advantage of it. I don't see AoE really dying, in all honesty. they can temporarily shield something else, but Tribby is still always gonna like have a good amount of targets to go against. Next MOC and this MOC are mostly focused on single enemies. Well, yeah, but like that makes sense, right? Like it makes sense. You need to look at what characters are running in this patch, right? And what characters does Dahlia shill? Mainly Destruction and Boot Hill, who I think is rerunning. Or maybe he isn't, I don't remember. But Boot Hill and Firefly still benefit massively from one character on the team, and they don't give a shit about Rappa, right? Then you have Aglaya, okay? Aglaya also kind of thrives in single target as well, because she's also Destruction. All the characters getting shielded in this patch, except for like DPS Ling Shaw or some bullshit, um, like they all do good against single target. Iron Mornai is basically the second coming of SK, basically. Now, here's a take I've always had, though. Fuck Anomaly Arbitration, okay? I genuinely don't care for Anomaly. Other people don't need to agree with me, and you can find fun in Anomaly because you find it challenging, and that's fine. But Anomaly is like, you get no premium currency. Who gives a fuck? You get some self-modeling resin. You know what that self-modeling resin is going to give you? Another shitly rolled piece, okay? That's the reality of these gacha games. You are investing full effort, all your jades, into premium optimal teams to clear anomaly arbitration for 3 self-modeling resin. You use it to either craft a piece or you use it to re-roll a piece, and it's gonna roll shit nonetheless. And now you need to wait another month and a half. Biggest fucking scam ever, man. Now, I will say, I'm glad it's not premium currency, okay? Don't think I'm genuinely mad. I am very happy. Because that endgame content is like leagues above just clearing MOC, Pure Fiction, and APOC. Like, that shit's in its own level at this point. I'm not gonna lie, when I heard Wuwa was getting a new endgame, like, inside my mind, I was like, please don't give asteroids, bro. Please don't give asteroids. Now it does give not that many asteroids, but it still gives asteroids. Who are you pulling in 3.0? Next version is stacked. More and and currently I don't have any solidified plans outside of Rebecca. Rebecca's a guaranteed, okay? I was talking about Solus because Solus is one of the few people. Actually, no, he's the only one I talk to off of like streams and shit who watches me. But like a big reason why I kept going with Wuwa, and it's like mid 2.x when I was really unmotivated, was solely because of Rebecca. I am really just playing this game for Rebecca right now. Now, I've gained a lot more interest in Wuwa. One, because of the new patch, or like new version, and also QU1. I find QU1 fun as shit. Okay, he may be one of the most terrible investments in the entirety of the game, but fun wise, he's like the best investment for me. So I don't regret it at all. But yeah, I'm mainly playing the game for Rebecca. Can you make a video about your progress on Bleach Soul Resonance? I can't. It doesn't have a PC port, and I deleted it off of Google Play Games. I mean, maybe I could re-download it just so I can like show people the quick progression, I guess. Maybe I'll consider it. Going to take a long time for them to release Rebecca. I mean, it's like 3.4. It's like half a year away. Yeah. But I kind of need that time because I want to get her sequences and stuff, so I don't mind it too much. I will make Rebecca meta if she isn't meta. That's the plan. I didn't know you were into Edge. What, Edge Runners? No, I haven't even watched the anime. I just like Rebecca. I've seen so many memes of her, so many clips of her. Like, tourist? Imagine free Rebecca. Keep on dreaming. Do a poll on how many characters you'll fold on before Rebecca comes. It's not happening, man. It's not happening. I'm dedicated this time. The last time I was this dedicated to get a character was Cassie. And I didn't fold on that one. I got the Eat 2 Cassie. Or the Cassie Premium team. Uma is such a great game for dopamine. As a girly, would you play Infinity Nikki? Would love to see you talk about the dress meta. I was actually going to make this video today, but I didn't make it because, like, I don't know. I just decided not to. But it was like an 11-minute video of me explaining, like, how a bunch of people want me to get into, like, new gachas and check it out. And the problem is, I already got caught off guard by Bleach Soul Resonance, and I'm also still trying to get into ZZZ a bit, and I just can't really do more than that. So, like, it's just so hard for me to play that many gachas. And I'm not, like, really a variety content creator, I say, right? Like, I'm not someone who just goes from game to game to game to game. I'm usually someone who tries to like stay a little bit, understand the game, enjoy it for like a good period of time, so it's like hard for me to play so many games. Like even currently, I already find it so annoying. I don't even log into all my gachas every day. Like Wua, Soul Resonance, HSR and ZZZ. I haven't logged into HSR I think at all today. I also haven't logged into ZZZ at all today. Like, I'm already slacking, man. I play like 6 gachas. I always have a shit ton of backlog. Jeez, yeah. But yeah. Don't worry, guys. I'll stay strong on Woowa. I won't fold. Except for Mornai. She's an exception. The reason I'm so confident I won't fold, right, is because we've already gotten basically all the Lahai Roy characters dripped. And so, like, I can see their designs. There's nothing that can catch me off guard. None of them interest me anywhere near as much as Mornai, so that means I'll probably be safe. I also lucked out with Mornai being the character she is, because she's like the main one who can still be ran incredibly well outside of her best in slot team, especially with like an S1 investment. So I lucked out on that as well. They could drip character they didn't tease like Canarella. Well, they didn't tease Ameth, but then they showed Ameth anyways. Like, we know Ameth is a real character. So they dripped Lene Mornai, which is this patch. Next patch is a Fusion Burst DPS plus probably someone else, right? So that can be like Ameth plus Lucia, or Sigrica plus Lucia, or um I don't know, Luke in there, right? And then 3 like there's 6 characters dripped, which is enough until 3.2. So the only question mark is 3.3 basically, at least for now. And if I only have to wait one more patch for Rebecca from the Cyberpunk collab, I'm going to wait that goddamn patch, okay? Nothing's going to stop me. One is a white-haired shrine maiden. I will hold my opinion until I see the design. Don't abbreviate Cyberpunk. It's not your fault. I'm not actually angry at you. But for all our sakes, let's not abbreviate Cyberpunk, right? Who do you think will be the CP? Oh, yeah, the Cyberpunk third slot. That's interesting. That's interesting. The third slot for the Cyberpunk team. You know what? I'm putting my money on Geshu-Lin. Yup. I'm putting it on Geshu-Lin. Third slot will be SK. Oh yeah, true. It'll be like SK or S1 more than I or something. And maybe they'll make like they better make Rebecca DPS. Best case scenarios, they make her a DPS with really good sequences. Chris Hansen is watching. uh, Rebecca is much more suitable as a DPS than Lucy. Yeah, that's basically the main thing I'm relying on currently for her being a DPS. Because so far, all of my favorite characters that I've like dedicated myself to like really, wanting them, like they've been supports. You know, I was super hyped for Chisa even like half a year ago when she got drip marketed, and then she ended up being a third slot. Then my favorite of the bunch from Lahai Roy was Mornai, and now she's also a fucking third slot. I'm tired of it, man. I'm tired of it. I need a real main DPS. I think Rebecca could do it for me. Bro, has forgotten Galbrena. I mean, I didn't forget her. I just got less and less and less interested in her. And then when I saw her like gameplay style and like her animations, I just didn't fuck with it. And then like Chiso was also the next patch, so it's like, oh, what am I gonna go for? The character I've been most hyped for like over half a year, or Galbrina, who I find a little underwhelming. Yeah, it's always gonna be Chiso. Well, we know how that went though. We know how that went. Galbrina's kind of forgettable. Yeah, I kind of think the same. I don't know really why, but I do think the same. JJK season 3? Oh yeah, should start airing soon. Is on Hikari? I have seen people call Hikari, and as well as Haraki. Like, bro, it's so funny. He's one of those anime character names that people get tripped up on. I bought a $150 belt from Boss. Guess I'll skip Lene. Did I make the right choice? To be honest, I think you did. To be, like the amount of money you need to spend to guarantee characters in these gacha games, man, it's so disgusting. Did you read JJK manga? Yeah, I fully read it. Everything. I'm even currently keeping up with Modulo. New best girl is Yuka. No! I've been playing for 3 hours. Yuka a fraud? No way we're calling a cancer patient a fraud. But no more spoilers, no more spoilers. There will be people in the chat who haven't gone this far. Hope your throat is good. Yeah, it's kind of like fine right now because I'm actually drinking water like every 5 to 10 minutes. Yesterday on the stream, I refused to get like anything to hydrate myself at all. So, it was much worse, the voice cracks yesterday. Be calling anyone a fraud now? Fraud, slander, never hits as good as it does for Megumi. Megumi's like an exception to the rule. Similar to Gojo, you know how they glaze Gojo and everything? Like Megumi is the exception to like the slander and JJK being so fucking good. Isn't it night? It's 1:50 in the morning. But like you guys probably don't know what goes on IRL, but I have severe sleep issues because of a dog that constantly barks. It's technically my dog because he lives with us, but he's not actually my dog, right? So when the owner isn't here, barks 24/7, and that wakes me up and fucks up my sleep schedule. So I've like adapted to the times he barks. So now I'm sleeping like late in the morning, like 4 in the morning or something. Technically, that's early in the morning. Have you watched the Chainsaw Man movie? Nope. I haven't even watched the Demon Slayer ones, which I probably should, considering how much I like Demon Slayer. You learn the dog's frame times. Crazy way to put it. Yeah, it's currently Christmas. I want to pick up a new manga. All my backlog manga is filled with romance manga. An action one. I mean, to be honest, I think that currently, like, you can't read it though. But it would be JJK because you don't want to spoil yourself. But JJK and then Modulo going on right now, which is a sequel. The sequel is fucking peak, man. It's so peak. There's not like constant breaks because Gege let someone else do the art so that he only needs to do the story. So it's just consistent release after release and it's so good. Kagura Bachi? Yeah, I've heard some pretty good stuff about Bachi as well. Yuji is the artist? Yeah, which is pretty funny. The artist has the same name as the main character. Pretty cool. There was even recently an interview with Gege where apparently Yuji wasn't like fully convinced to be the artist for JJK, but when Gege mentioned that Maharaga would pop up, he basically mentioned that as like the thing that actually got him to instantly take the job. So the guy only became an artist for JJK Modulo because of Maharaga. Insane motion. I thought JJK manga ended. There's currently a sequel called Modulo, which takes place, I think, like 70 years later around there. Is Lene a good pull for Wua Meta? Currently, yes. Currently, yeah. 100%. She hasn't even gotten her main DPS either. 70 years later, that far? Yeah. It's like an entirely new cast of characters. There's no like Maki. There's no like, obviously Sakuna and shit. Like, there's none of that. It's just a completely new cast, different like story direction as well. So I have an Augusta, no Yuno in Cartethia, no Chacona. Oh wait, I have an Augusta, no Yuno, and a Cartethia, no Chacona. I also wanted Linnae. I'm cooked. I don't know who to try and get. Um, okay. If I remember correctly, because of Linnae Mornai being such a wheelchair comp, you can just get Linnae Mornai and it genuinely works with Augusta. The other thing you could do, and the most obvious one, is prioritize Chacona, right? Because, other people might not want to say it for what it is, but let's all be honest here. If you don't have Chacona, then she is Cart is kind of like Jinshi tier. Okay. She is like Jinshi tier, right? It's not pretty at all in the slightest. So I'd highly, highly recommend that. Oh, one second, guys. All right. All right. There we go. There we go. I am going to have to end the stream because my mouse just ran out of battery. So, sorry about that. But mouse ran out of battery. So I think that's a good sign to call it a day. It's been a pretty long ass stream. So, hope you all have a Merry Christmas. Hope you all have a great day, great night, whatever. And remember,